Greetings and salutations. This is the Adjutant. I want you to imagine something. It's Monday morning, not just any Monday morning. It's your first Monday morning after retiring from the military. The alarm clock goes off. For just a moment, your mind does what it's done for years. It starts preparing for the day. Then it hits you. There's no formation, no staff meeting, no commander waiting for an update, no emails marked urgent, no mission that someone else assigned to you. For the first time in decades, the day belongs entirely to you. Now, most people think that's the finish line. Well, you know what? I don't. I think that's the starting line. After more than 26 years in the United States Army, after practicing law, after teaching as an adjunct college professor, and after spending more than 2 decades helping veterans through my work at the Department of Veterans Affairs, I've learned something that surprised me. The veterans who have the happiest retirements aren't necessarily the wealthiest. They aren't necessarily the highest ranking. They aren't necessarily the ones with the largest disability rating. The veterans who thrive are the ones who become intentional during that first year, because retirement isn't just about leaving the military, it's about becoming the person the military spent years preparing you to become. Now, for years, someone else established the mission. Someone else determined your priorities. Someone else evaluated your performance. Retirement changes all of that. Now you're in command. And just like every important military mission, success doesn't happen by accident. It happens because someone prepared for it. Today, I want to walk you through 10 milestones that I believe every veteran should reach during the first year after retirement. Now, I don't want this to feel like another YouTube list. I want it to feel like a conversation between two veterans. If you've already retired, I hope this confirms you're moving in the right direction. If retirement is still ahead of you, I hope it helps you avoid mistakes that can take years to correct. Now, by the end of this conversation, my hope is that you'll stop looking at retirement as something you're leaving behind and start seeing it as something extraordinary that's waiting for you. Now, let's begin with the first milestone. Learn to slow down before you speed up. One of the first questions almost every retiree hears is, so what are you going to do now? It sounds harmless, but hidden inside that question is an assumption that you need another job immediately, that you need another title, that you need another business card, that you need another office. I don't necessarily agree. Now, if your financial situation requires immediate employment, then your responsibility is clear. Take care of your family, pay your bills, honor your commitments. But if you've planned well, if you built some financial breathing room, give yourself permission to pause. For years, your life operated according to someone else's calendar. Someone else decided where you'd live. Someone else decided where you'd move. Someone else approved your leave. Someone else also not only approved your leave, but various missions you went on. So for perhaps the first time since you were a young adult, you have something incredibly valuable. It's choice. Now, don't rush past that. When I made my own transition, I realized something. I spent years making important decisions under pressure. Retirement allowed me to make important decisions with perspective. That's very different. Now, instead of asking, what's my next job, ask yourself, what kind of life do I actually want to build? They aren't the same question. Jobs create income. Lives create fulfillment. Some veterans accidentally recreate the same stress they were trying to escape because they're uncomfortable with stillness. They mistake activity with progress. They confuse being busy with living intentionally. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is nothing, at least for a little while, that is. You want to slow down, you want to think, you want to pray, reflect, talk with your spouse, write down your priorities, discover what actually matters to you when no one else is writing your evaluation report, because the decisions you make during your first year often shape the next 20 or 30 years. Once you slow down your life enough to think clearly, the next milestone naturally flows. Become the commander of your own day. One of the greatest gifts the military gives us is discipline. One of the greatest dangers after retirement is assuming discipline will continue automatically. It won't. Now, without intentional structure, human beings drift. I have seen it happen over and over again. The alarm gets set a little later, the workout gets skipped, meals become less intentional, television replaces learning, tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month. Before long, retirement begins like feeling directionless. Now, the military never intended discipline to stay inside installation gates. It was supposed to become part of your character. That's why even today, I still wake up early. I still exercise. I want to keep my weight down, look good in these nice suits for you all. I spend my time studying. I still organize my day before the day begins organizing me. Not because someone is inspecting me, because discipline is now part of who I am. Build a morning routine. Protect it. Create time for your health. Create time for your learning. Create time for the people you love. The goal isn't filling every hour. The goal is making sure your calendar reflects your values instead of your impulses. Now, here is something I've learned over the years. Extraordinary lives are rarely built by extraordinary days. They're built by ordinary days lived consistently. That's exactly what discipline gives you. Now, once you've established a healthy routine, you're ready for something that can have an enormous impact on the quality of your retirement. It's not your investment. It's not your pension. It's not your retirement paycheck. It's understanding something that you've already earned, but that many veterans never fully use. Now, let's talk about that next, all right? The third milestone is this: become an expert on the benefits that you've already earned. One of the most frustrating conversations I've had with veterans almost always begin the same way. I didn't know I qualified for that. Every time I hear those words, I think about the years they spent serving this country, years of deployment, years of missed birthdays, years of missed anniversaries, years of training, years of sacrifice. Those benefits are gifts. They're part of the compensation you earn through your service. Treat them that way. Now, approach your retirement benefits the same way that you would approach a military operation. Know your resources, know your capabilities, know what's available to you. Review your VA disability compensation. Review your military retired pay. Understand TRICARE options. Review your survivor benefit plan. Review your beneficiaries. Review your life insurance. Understand your thrift savings plan. Research your state veteran benefits. Find out whether your state offers property tax exemptions. One state like Michigan pays for everything. If your house costs $1 trillion, guess how much property taxes you pay? 0. Understand Social Security before you're ready to claim it. If you're also retiring from federal civilian service, understand how your FERS retirement works alongside your military retirement and your VA benefits. The point isn't simply to collect benefits. The point is to understand how they work together. Knowledge creates confidence. Confidence creates better decisions. One of the reasons I created this channel is because I became tired of watching veterans discover important information 5 or 10 years after retirement. By then, some opportunities have already been missed. Now, I don't want that to happen to you folks. I want you guys making informed decisions during your very first year. Because once you understand your benefits, your attention naturally shifts towards protecting something even more valuable, your health. That's the fourth milestone. Treat your health like your next assignment. During our military careers, many of us become experts at ignoring pain. We push through injuries. We work long hours. We skip sleep. We convinced ourselves we deal with it later. Well, retirement is later. Your body carried you through the road marches, deployments, training exercises, stress, late nights, leadership responsibilities. Now it's your time to take care of it. Schedule your annual physical. Know your blood pressure. Know your cholesterol. Know your blood sugar. Take your medications as prescribed. Stay physically active. Build strength. protect your mobility, improve your balance, stretch regularly, eat better than you did 20 years ago, and protect your sleep. Now, as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate something I didn't fully understand when I was younger. Health is what allows you to enjoy everything else you work so hard to build. You can have financial security. You can have a beautiful home. You can travel the world. But if your health is unnecessarily declines because you neglect it, retirement becomes much smaller than it needed to be. Your body has served you faithfully for decades. Honor it by taking care of it. Now, while physical health is essential, there's another kind of health we don't talk nearly enough about. And in my opinion, it's the one that determines whether retirement becomes fulfilling or lonely. The fifth milestone is protecting your mind and your identity. One of the biggest surprises after retirement isn't losing the paycheck, it's losing the structure. For years, you know exactly who you were. You wore the uniform. You belonged to something larger than yourself. People depend on you. You had priorities. You had a mission. Then one day, that chapter closes. Your experience doesn't disappear. Your leadership doesn't disappear. Your character certainly doesn't disappear, but your daily identity changes. That's why so many veterans quietly ask themselves a question they rarely say out loud. Who am I now? If you ever ask yourself that question, you're not alone. I've spoken with veterans who have missed putting on the uniform. I've spoken with veterans who have missed leading soldiers. I've spoken with veterans who miss simply feeling needed. Those feelings are normal, but don't let them convince you that your purpose is behind you. It's not. It's ahead of you. Stay connected with people. Invest in friendships. Stay close to your family. Stay involved with your faith community if that's part of your life. If you're struggling emotionally, please don't struggle alone. One of the strongest things you'll ever do is ask for support before isolation becomes loneliness. Looking back on my own transition, I eventually realized something that changed everything. I spent years asking, what did I retire from? The better question is, what am I being prepared for now? That single question shifted my perspective because retirement isn't primarily about ending one mission, it's about discovering the next one. And that brings us to what I believe is the turning point of the entire first year of retirement. Purpose. The sixth milestone is this: discover your next mission. Notice I didn't say your next job. Jobs are important. They provide income. They provide opportunity. But a mission gives you direction to your life. When I look back over my own journey, I realized that every season of my life had a mission attached to it. As a young soldier, my mission was to learn. As an officer, my mission became leading soldiers. As an attorney, my mission became advocating for people. As a college professor, my mission became teaching. At the Department of Veteran Affairs, my mission became helping veterans receive the benefits that they've earned. Today, through this channel, my mission is still serving veterans. The audience changed, the uniform changed, the setting changed, but the mission never really did. That may be one of the biggest lessons retirement has taught me. Purpose doesn't retire, it evolves. Now, maybe your next mission is mentoring younger veterans. Maybe it's strengthening your marriage. Maybe it's becoming the grandparent your grandchildren will always remember. Maybe it's serving your congregation. Maybe it's volunteering in your community. Maybe it's starting the business you've dreamed about for years. Or maybe your mission is simply becoming the healthiest, wisest, and most present version of yourself. Only you can answer that question, but answer it. Because purpose gives meaning to every morning that follows. Once you discovered your mission, you're ready for the next milestone. Build financial peace, not just financial wealth. Now, over the years, I spent countless hours helping veterans understand military retirement, VA benefits, and long-term financial planning. One thing I've learned is that money should serve your life. Your life should never serve your money. Know exactly where your income comes from. Military retired pay, VA disability compensation, FERS if you've earned it, Social Security when it's appropriate, the thrift savings plan, personal investment, emergency savings. Then know exactly where your money is going. Have a written plan. Review it regularly. Adjust it when life changes. Financial peace isn't about becoming wealthy. It's about removing uncertainty. It's about sleeping well at night because you know your family is protected and your future has a plan. Money is a tool. Use it wisely. Don't allow it to become your identity. Now, the 8th milestone is one that many people postpone. Protect your family by getting your affairs in order. Now, this isn't exciting. It probably won't make for any interesting dinner conversation, but it may be one of the greatest acts of love you'll ever perform. Review your beneficiaries. Update your will. Consider whether a trust makes sense for your situation. Prepare a health power of attorney. Prepare a durable financial power of attorney. Organize your military records. Organize your VA paperwork. Organize your insurance information. Create a secure location for passwords and important documents. Now, during our military careers, we plan for contingencies because that's what responsible leaders do. Retirement does not eliminate that responsibility. It simply changes who we're protecting. You're protecting the people you love most. The 9th milestone is one I hope you'll never underestimate. Invest deeply in your relationships. One thing military service can never give back is time. Time away from your spouse, time away from your children, time away from birthdays, holidays, school events, family dinners. Retirement gives you something incredibly valuable. Presence. Don't waste it. Take your spouse to lunch in the middle of the week simply because you can. Call your children, visit your grandchildren, reconnect with old friends, invite another veteran to coffee. Be fully present when you're with the people you love. Listen more, laugh more, encourage more, forgive more. I've never met anyone near the end of life who wished they had attended one more meeting. But I've met many veterans who wish they had spent more time with the people who mattered most. Retirement gives you that opportunity. Take it. And finally, the 10th milestone. Never stop becoming. One of the greatest myths about retirement is that you've reached the finish line. I don't believe that. I believe retirement is graduation day. It's the moment everything you've learned begins serving an even greater purpose. Continue learning, continue reading, continue traveling if you're able, continue growing spiritually, continue growing emotionally, continue asking questions, continue mentoring, continue becoming. You possess something today that you didn't have when you were 25 years old. Wisdom. Wisdom earned through sacrifice. Wisdom earned through disappointment. Wisdom earned through success. Wisdom earned through perseverance. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. The next generation needs it. Now, let's go back to where we began. The first Monday morning after retirement. No formation, no briefing, no commander assigning your mission. At first, that silence can feel unfamiliar, but now I hope you see it differently. The silence isn't the end, it's an invitation to lead yourself with the same discipline, integrity, humility, and purpose that defined your military career. Your service didn't end when you retired, it simply changed form. Your greatest contribution may still be ahead of you. If this conversation encouraged you, I'd appreciate it if you click the like button. It helps YouTube share this message with more veterans and military families preparing for this transition. If you're new to this channel, I invite you to subscribe because every week we talk about military retirement, VA benefits, military wealth, and the life strategies that help veterans build remarkable lives after service. Now, I'd like to hear from you. If you're already retired, what's the most important lesson you learned during your first year? If retirement is still ahead of you, which milestone do you think will make the biggest difference in your life? Share it in the community below. Your experience may be exactly what another veteran needs to hear. And before you leave, I recommend you watching the video that's on your screen now because it builds directly on today's conversation and will help you make even wiser decisions as you prepare for retirement. And so there you have it. The first year after military retirement isn't about replacing the life you had. It's about building the life you've earned. Lead with purpose, serve with humility, continue growing, and never forget, the military prepared you for much more than a career. It prepared you for a lifetime of meaningful service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. And thank you for allowing me to be a small part of your journey. I wish you all blessings and blessings. Shalom.